Hi friends, it's Miss Anne from Herrick District Library. Today I am going to show you how to make our confetti flingers for our New Year's Eve take and make home party. Ready to get started? Okay, so we have all of our materials here ready to go. And it looks like the first thing we need to do is to decorate our little strip of construction paper. So I'm gonna find that. There it is. And then you can decorate it however you want. Or you don't have to decorate it if you don't want to either. You can just leave it a plain color. That's fine too. I decided that since one of my very favorite things is stars, I love stars, that I was going to put stars and some swirls on my construction paper for my confetti flinger. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's see what our next step is. Next, it says to set our construction paper aside and find our small pieces of tissue paper. So those are my big pieces. There are my little pieces. And we are going to use those to create a cap kind of on the end of our craft tube. And you can use glue or tape for this. I had glue, so I just used that. Just gonna put a little bit of glue around the rim of the craft tube. Right on the side there. And very, very gently, we're going to take a piece of tissue paper because it's very fragile and just sort of carefully stick that on so that it stays put. And the instructions do say that if we want it to be a little bit more sturdy, we can put another piece of tissue paper over top of that, which I decided to do just to be safe. All right, looks good so far. Next, it says we need to get out our big tissue paper to turn it into confetti. There are a few different ways you can do this. You can tear it, you can cut it. I decided to do a little bit of both. And when I cut my tissue paper, I folded it into fours, into quarters, just because I think it's a little easier to cut that way, cutting a few layers at a time instead of just one layer at a time. So there it is, folded into fours. And we're gonna start giving a little bit of a fringe here with the scissors. And then we're going to trim the fringe. It's kind of like giving it a little haircut. And that makes some confetti. It does not need to be perfect, friends. It just needs to be fun. So now we are going to start putting some of our confetti in our tube. This takes a little bit of doing. Takes a little bit of time, and we want to make sure that we don't fill up our tube too full. We don't want it packed too tightly, because when it's time to fling our confetti everywhere, we need there to be enough space in there for the confetti to release and go flying out of the tube. And if it's crammed in there super tight, that will be hard to make happen. So here I am, switch to another color. Tearing works just as well as cutting. Look at all those fun colors going in there. Okay. I had a little bit of leftover tissue paper. That's okay. I didn't want to fill it so full that it wouldn't fling the confetti when it was time for New Year's, for our countdown to noon. Now we need to cover the other end the way we did our first end. A little bit of glue around the edge and a tissue paper, and then I did a second layer of tissue paper on this end too. Next, our instructions tell us we need to get out our construction paper that we decorated, and we're going to use this to cover up all of the little ends of the tissue paper so that it looks a little bit neater and cleaner. So we're just going to turn our construction paper over and put a little bit of glue on the end. And we're going to start carefully rolling. Just put our craft tube onto the paper and carefully roll it so that all of the edges of the tissue paper are covered up. And you'll want to add a little more glue as you go. And the strip of construction paper is definitely longer than it needs to be, so you can actually make it shorter if you want to trim it. Even before you decorate it, you can do that. Just keep on rolling, and there we have our finished confetti flinger. It is all ready. Now the hard part is that we want to not puncture the ends until it's time for the countdown to noon. The waiting is the hard part. Oh, friends, it is not easy to wait to use something this fun, is it? You might have to wait just a little bit longer, but I want to show you how it works so when we finish our countdown at noon on our New Year's Eve party, you are ready to go. So when it is almost time to do our countdown, you're going to poke just one end of your confetti flinger open. Oh, look, there's more confetti inside. And then we're going to do our countdown from 10 to 1. And when we get to the end and we want to throw our confetti, all we have to do is fling this through the air and it's going to make our confetti fly everywhere. You ready? We're going to pretend it's noon. Happy New Year! Just like that. Happy New Year, everyone.